Welcome to the deep dive. It's funny to think about. If you bought a car, say, 10 years ago, that relationship with the manufacturer, it pretty much ended the second you drove off the lot.
Oh, completely. It was a clean break.
Yeah, you'd come back for service, sure, but it was so transactional, it was often frustrating and just definitely fragmented. Today, that relationship is, well, it's continuous, it's dynamic, and frankly, it is utterly dependent on data. We're really moving from the business of just selling a piece of metal to managing an entire customer lifetime experience, and it's all driven by data.
And that shift isn't just a small evolution, it's a revolution in architecture. The entire industry is going through this massive digital transformation right now, and our sources make it really clear that the core driver is a centralized data strategy, one that's designed to unlock, exponential value.
Okay, so not just collecting data for the sake of it.
Not at all. We are talking about creating synergy.
Synergy. That's the key word, and that's really the mission of this deep dive. We are going to analyze the anatomy of this strategy. We're going to focus on the two platforms that have become, well, non-negotiable foundations.
Right.
The Customer Data Platform, or CDP, and its critical partner, the Vehicle Data Platform, the VDP.
Right.
We're going to show you exactly how this architecture works, what data flows through it, and why this synergy is so powerful that it actually acts as the primary revenue multiplier.
Our source material lays out the formula for success, and it revolves around a concept we can just call S for synergy. The total customer experience and the revenue it generates, it's a function of individual efforts in sales and retention, plus this massive multiplier effect that happens when all the systems actually talk to each other.
So the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly. It's about creating perfect real-time harmony between three critical elements: the customer experience, the CDP, and the VDP. If those three notes aren't struck in sync, the transformation just falls short. You end up leaving money and, just as important, loyalty on the table.
Okay, so let's start with the platform's goal. It sounds simple, but I'm guessing it's immensely powerful. If we strip away all the acronyms and the complexity, what is the ultimate objective of the CDP in this high-stakes automotive landscape?
The objective is really clear: to convert raw customer data into actionable insights that significantly grow sales revenue and marketing return on investment.
Oh.
But let's not just gloss over the complexity behind that statement. The CDP is, at its heart, a specialized software platform, and it's designed not just to store information, but to facilitate real-time action based on, behavioral predictions.
Right. So it's the difference between having, say, a filing cabinet full of customer records and having a smart, proactive assistant who knows to call the customer at the exact right moment with the perfect offer.
That is the perfect analogy. And when you say manage this process end to end, it really is a multi-step process that makes a modern CDP so different from a traditional data warehouse or even a really robust CRM.
So you go to those stages. What makes it different?
It's all about speed and unification. First, it has to ingest customer-relevant data from a ton of sources.
A myriad of sources.
And we mean everything, from an in-car click to a dealership transaction. Then second, it must unify and contextualize that data. And this is critical for creating that single, authoritative view of the customer. You often hear it called the golden record.
Okay, but hold on a sec. Let's stop right there. How does that unification step actually differ from just, say, loading data into a traditional database?
That's a great question. A traditional database might, link a customer ID to a purchase. Simple. A modern CDP performs sophisticated identity resolution, so it might see an anonymous web browser searching for SUV financing options.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, it recognizes that same browser fingerprint when that person logs into the owner's portal to check their service history. The unification process resolves those totally separate interactions into one single evolving profile.
Okay, so it resolves the who. What comes next after that?
Third, it needs to derive business actionable meaning. This is where all the heavy lifting happens, generating relevant customer insights, predictive recommendations using advanced algorithms.
This is the machine learning and AI part.
Exactly. It's forecasting needs and intent.
Yeah.
And then finally, the true payoff. It must trigger real-time actions. This is absolutely essential to drive specific business objectives, like a preemptive service notification or a personalized in-app promotion. This final stage is how data moves from being a passive historical asset to an active, real-time revenue driver.
That makes the whole mandate much clearer. Now let's talk scope. The automotive industry is massive. It's incredibly varied. When we talk about digital transformation, who specifically needs this strategy? Who is this relevant for?
The reach is incredibly broad. It touches basically every organization that contributes to the vehicle's life cycle and the customer's journey. Our sources point to 5 major categories.
Okay, let's detail those 5.
So first and foremost, you have the automotive manufacturers, the OEMs, the original equipment
Right, the
manufacturers.
big brands.
Exactly. This covers passenger cars and light trucks, obviously, but the mandate extends way beyond that. It includes manufacturers of heavy trucks, buses, motorbikes, and crucially, heavy vehicles used in construction and agriculture.
And each of those would have very different data needs, I imagine.
Wildly different. A farmer needing predictive maintenance on a combine harvester has completely different requirements than a city commuter. And this category also includes that rapidly expanding sector of electric and hybrid vehicles, which generate a whole new universe of telematics data around battery health and charging behavior.
So anyone making a machine that moves people or stuff. Got it. What's the second group?
The second group is that whole supporting ecosystem, vehicle component manufacturers and aftermarket suppliers. They need detailed data on usage and failure patterns. So a tire manufacturer, for example, needs to know not just how many times were sold, but the actual pressure and mileage data from the VDP to optimize their designs, their marketing, and even predictive replacement campaigns for high mileage customers. They rely on that data flowing from both the customer and the vehicle just to stay relevant.
And then, of course, you move to the front line, the sales and service folks.
Exactly. The third category is dealerships. They manage that crucial initial transaction and often maintain the longest relationship with the customer through ongoing service. Their profitability really depends on efficient scheduling and personalized upselling.
And the service centers.
Right. The fourth is vehicle repair services and dedicated service centers. Their efficiency and customer satisfaction are directly linked to having real-time data about the vehicle's specific maintenance history and the customer's communication preferences. It just makes the whole interaction faster and more relevant.
And finally, the entities that are managing all the risk and the financing.
The fifth category is special services, so vehicle financing and insurance services. They rely so heavily on customer risk profiles, ownership history, and increasingly vehicle configuration data. A sophisticated CDK allows an insurer to tailor these highly specific, personalized offers that a traditional static risk model simply can't match. It leads to better pricing and better risk management. If you operate in any of these 5 areas, this data strategy is paramount to future growth.
That sounds like a potential nightmare of competing interests, though. I mean, how does the CDP prioritize service data for a dealership when an OEM is pushing a brand-wide sales campaign? Doesn't this centralized strategy inadvertently create conflict between business units?
That's a critical challenge, and it's exactly why the centralization has to be led by customer journey mapping, not by internal politics.
Oh, okay.
The ultimate value proposition is the capability it gives the entire organization to engage with customers holistically. The CDP has to act as the arbiter of the customer experience. It has to ensure that if a service need is imminent, and it knows this from the VDP data, the sales message is suppressed or at least adjusted.
So instead of siloed interactions.
Right. Instead of a marketing message here, a service interaction there, you get a truly delightful customer experience. The source material is very clear on this. The CDP has to be seen as the heart of both the business strategy and the technology strategy. That's the only way to successfully drive digital transformation because it forces all the different units to operate on the same authoritative customer reality.
Okay, let's unpack this architecture then. Let's get into the hood.
Yeah.
If the CDP is the central nervous system, we need to look at its vital functions and the complex technology stack required for success.
Right. So when we dissect the key functionality of a successful automotive CDP, we can divide the tech stack into 3 major, highly interwoven functions: data management, insight generation, and action and delivery.
Let's start with data management. This sounds like the foundational plumbing, but as we just discussed, it's highly specialized.
Yeah.
What makes this modern data management layer so complex?
It all revolves around building and maintaining the most valuable asset, which is the identity. First, it requires managing what's called the dynamic omnichannel progressive profile.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means the customer profile isn't a static record. It actually evolves as the customer interacts across different channels: web, mobile, call center, dealership. So as soon as a customer logs in or gives an email, the CDP stitches together their previous anonymous clickstream behavior with their now known identity. It creates a progressively richer view of them.
So it's continuously learning.
Precisely. And to do this, you need industrial scale systems for data ingestion, making sure you can pull in millions of data points per minute. This requires advanced data pipelining and processing to normalize and clean all that messy incoming data. And because the data is so scattered, identity and access management is paramount to ensure you know exactly who the customer is, regardless of the touch point. That's the core of identity resolution. And finally, because the stakes are so high, you need strong data governance and orchestration to ensure privacy compliance and data quality, especially in a global OEM environment.
Okay, so that's how the data gets in and gets managed. The second function, insight generation. That's where the raw material is forged into gold, right?
This is where understanding is created, exactly. Insight generation covers analyzing explicit customer behavior, what they clicked on, observed sentiments, what they said on social media or in a survey, and their overall experience based on service interactions. It uses data exploration techniques to find hidden patterns.
And this is where the predictive capabilities come in, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. The CDP employs sophisticated predictive algorithms. It leverages robust ML and AI capabilities to forecast needs, churn probability, and the next best action. This function generates the actual insights and analytics and tracks real-time KPIs relevant to the customer journey. Think of it as predicting when a customer is about to need a new car or a major service, often before they even realize it themselves. It's about making business actionable.
And the third piece, action and delivery. This is where the customer actually feels the benefit or the detriment if the system fails.
Correct. This is the front-end application. It includes granular audience segmentation to group customers, which drives hyper-relevant personalization and contextual recommendations across all the channels. It identifies opportunities for upsell, cross-sell, like suggesting a subscription for enhanced navigation. Most importantly, it enables real-time action-like instantly adjusting website content based on a telematics alert, and it facilitates complex cross-system workflows between marketing, sales, and service tools.
And this all ties back to that buzzword, the Customer 360 single view. It sounds great in a boardroom, but how does this handle the sheer scale of a global OEM?
That's where the architecture gets really demanding. A system serving a global automotive brand needs multi-tenant cloud support. That's for scalability, performance, and legal separation across different geographical and business units. The 360 view has to be instantly available, regardless of whether the customer is in a dealership in Europe or on a mobile app in Asia. The latency has to be near zero for that real-time promise to be credible.
That is a tremendously detailed view of the human customer. But here's what makes the automotive sector so unique. The customer is attached to a complex, moving, data-generating machine. This brings us to the critical partner, the Vehicle Data Platform, or VDP. If the CDP is the brain, the VDP is the nervous system.
That analogy is perfect. The vehicle itself is a giant data source, and integrating that machine data with the human data, that's the core competitive advantage. The VDP is essentially giving the brand the car's daily diary. It's telling them whether it's being treated like a pampered pet or a beat-up rental.
Let's list some of those key data elements. What kind of intimate details is the VDP capturing in real time?
We can categorize it into several layers. At the foundational level, you've got static data like vehicle information model, configuration, specific components, and ownership details like registration, insurance, warranty, claims, and so on.
The administrative context.
Right. But the real gold mine, the lifeblood of predictive service, is the real-time performance telematics.
Telematics, that's where the proactive service happens.
It includes metrics like engine status, is it throwing any codes, vehicle speed and hard braking events, which indicates driving style, precise location data for, say, geofencing or proximity-based service offers, fuel consumption trends, and for EVs, critical metrics on battery charging level and historical degradation. It also includes practical wear and tear data like tire pressure and mileage. All of this feeds into managing maintenance and service records and detailing every retail interaction.
Okay, so if the CDP predicts I might buy new tires based on my web browsing history,
Right.
the VDP confirms that urgency because it shows my tire pressure has been consistently low for a week and my driving style is aggressive. That synthesis is the magic, right?
Absolutely. The VDP provides the context of the product's life and health, which dramatically improves the insights the CDP derives about the customer's needs and intent. Without the CDP is basically blind to the physical reality of the product.
So we have the human-centric CDP and the machine-centric VDP. To make this work, the source says that organizations have to align 5 key data and process universes to feed into the central CDP. What are these 5 organizational structures that need to be unified?
This is really their organizational map for centralization. And the difficulty is that these five universes often sit in different departments using different legacy systems. The first is the vehicle lifecycle. So, tracking the car from initial factory production all the way through service, warranty claims, and eventual trade-in or resale.
And the second and third relate directly to transactions and support, I see.
Yes. The second is automotive retail, covering everything from physical point-of-sale transactions to in-store digital engagements and inventory management. The third is the omnichannel MarTech and CRM stack, handling marketing campaigns, lead management, customer service tickets, communications, the traditional front office.
And the final two seem to focus on digital self-management and external partnerships.
Exactly. The fourth is customer self-service and commerce. This covers online portals, mobile apps, e-commerce purchases of parts, account management. And the fifth is dealer engagement. This is often the hardest to align, since the dealer network is made of independent businesses. It's about ensuring data flows seamlessly to and from that critical dealer network, giving them the insights they need while pulling back crucial transactional data. Successfully aligning these five ensures the CDP is the true central nervous system of the organization.
If the CDP is the heart and these five universes are the circulatory system, then the customer journey is the body it nourishes. We need to analyze that value chain across the entire car ownership experience to see exactly how these CDP insights improve each step. You mentioned two phases, acquisition and retention.
That's right. Let's start with the acquisition phase, which has always been, a competitive dogfight. A CDP elevates that pre-purchase experience beyond just traditional advertising.
How so?
It shifts the experience from generic reach to hyper-relevance from the very first touch point, which often begins anonymously. In the awareness and welcome stage, the CDP uses historical data, maybe they previously owned a vehicle that was serviced at a partner center, and recent interactions to generate personalized offers. For example, if the CDP knows the customer previously owned a heavy-duty truck, the messaging for a new truck will focus on towing capacity and payload limits. That's drastically different than the messaging for a first-time family sedan buyer.
And this personalization follows them into the digital channel experience.
Absolutely. The CDP makes sure the customer is guided with the right information and a seamless experience across all digital properties, website, mobile app configurators. The moment they engage, the system sees their entire digital shadow and suppresses information they already know or don't need, guiding them toward conversion. They aren't seeing generic offers, they're seeing tailored content.
This sounds like a massive advantage when the customer finally walks into the dealership experience.
It's the ultimate assisted sale. The dealer agent isn't starting from zero. The CDP has armed them with the customer's needs, preferences, and price sensitivities based on all those prior digital interactions. This lets the agent immediately recommend the right vehicle and ownership options, whether that's a specific financing deal or a technology package. And this preparation culminates in the ability to deliver an exclusive and custom offer, tailoring incentives to increase profitable conversions without over-discounting.
Okay, but to make this work, the CDP needs to pull in an incredible range of data sources for this pre-purchase phase. Let's elaborate on that. What are the key inputs feeding this profile before a customer ever commits?
The list really demonstrates the breadth of ingestion required. We start with consumer behavior data, search engines activity, what are they researching, social media interactions, and detailed website clickstreams. Which models did they configure but not save? Then there's marketing data like digital ads interactions and campaign sentiments. Did they like the ad?
And the tools they use to actually research the car itself.
Exactly. We captured data from car configuration tools, the exact trim level they played with, online car comparisons, who are they cross-shopping, and crucial intent signals from test drive interactions, and here's a surprising one, car rentals.
Car rentals.
Yeah, if a customer is renting a specific model repeatedly, that's a massive intent signal. This turns what looks like a negative signal they rented instead of bought into a conversion opportunity. The CDP can then personalize a message focusing on long-term value.
We also have data from customer service and finance touchpoints, right?
Yes. Organizational touchpoints like contact center logs, what questions did they ask, and auxiliary services like insurance and financing data. It gives insight into budget and risk tolerance. Even basic e-commerce browsing for parts contributes to that pre-purchase profile.
So by synthesizing all of this, the organization gets a truly unified pre-purchase view. It turns anonymous research into actionable intelligence.
Right, which brings us into the second major phase, ownership. The relationship doesn't end when the sale closes. For the CDP, it's just beginning. This phase is all about retention and deepening that intimacy.
And this is where that VDP and CDP synergy really
It's
shines.
critical for long-term customer lifetime value. First, you have the car service experience. CDP insights allow the organization to ensure that service technicians are engaged and deliver best-in-class service. They have access not just to past service invoices, which is CRM data, but to predictive maintenance insights from the VDP. The system might flag a potential brake pad issue based on aggressive driving data before the customer hears any grinding noise.
The vehicle proactively communicates its own needs.
Precisely. Through the in-car experience. Customer intimacy increases when the organization combines the in-vehicle telematics with direct customer feedback, like surveys or in-app ratings of the infotainment system. Understanding how the customer feels about the car, combined with how the car is actually performing, that's gold. This synthesis predicts dissatisfaction and allows the brand to intervene preemptively. It all contributes to the overall ownership experience, which increases retention and drives loyalty.
What data sources power this ownership phase? It must include that highly specific vehicle data we talked about, plus all the friction points where a customer might get frustrated.
It pulls a massive amount of human-generated data. E-commerce purchases for parts, survey feedback on performance, interactions within branded owner portals or communities. We also track the friction points. Data like emergency support logs, filed complaints, detailed warranty and claim management records, and even interactions related to used car trade-ins or sales. Plus general mobility and service records. The integration here is key to providing preemptive and personalized service, minimizing frustration, and maximizing loyalty.
We've mapped the digital path from browsing to ownership, but the transaction and so much of the service still often happens physically. How does this massive data architecture follow the customer into the dealer lobby and the service day? Let's start with automotive retail. The physical store has moved way beyond the traditional counter, hasn't it?
It has been digitized dramatically. The concept of the in-store POS has expanded into what is now the omni-channel POS. We see mobile POS devices, self-checkout kiosks for parts, specialized digital signages that change based on localized inventory. The physical store is now a highly digitized environment, generating real-time data just like a website.
And the source highlights a key tool here, in-store clienteling apps. What are these, and how do they leverage the CDP to transform a sales agent from a paper pusher into a truly informed advisor?
The clienteling app is the mobile interface used by the in-store agent. It provides them with that instantaneous 360-degree view of the customer. So before the customer even finishes browsing the lot, the agent knows their purchase history, their recent web interactions, their predicted service needs from the VDP, and their price sensitivity scores generated by the CDP's AI.
That enables genuinely assisted selling.
Absolutely. The agent doesn't need to ask the customer what they're looking for. They already know the customer configured a specific high-end trim 2 days ago. This allows for real-time one-to-one personalization during the interaction. If a customer is looking at an accessory, the agent can look at their personalized dashboards, which display transactional and operational KPIs as they happen, and pull the trigger on a hyper-personalized, one-time promotion right there on the spot.
So the customer walks in after configuring a car online. The agent sees that immediately, and the data flowing from the physical store back to the CDP is vital. What specific data points flow back from this dynamic retail environment?
The CDP is constantly enriched by 4 key types of retail insights. First, details on omnichannel promotions used and the pricing leveraged by the customer during purchase. This helps the system learn what incentives actually work. Second, deep browsing and purchase data for specific categories and items, whether that's parts, accessories, or services. Third, engagement insights with digital content displayed in-store. And finally, tracking offline actions, like in-store event engagements and the redemption of physical coupons, which completes the physical loop back into the digital profile.
This leads us into the omnichannel MarTech and CRM integration, and this is where we have to confront the biggest responsibility of this powerful technology, privacy and compliance.
Right?
The source mentions that sometimes a strength can become a weakness.
Yeah.
It can lead to an intrusive feeling for the consumer when the technology knows a bit too much. How do you mitigate that risk?
The absolute necessity is respecting customer privacy and strictly adhering to data regulations like GDPR or CCPA. Privacy isn't a checkbox. It has to be baked into the design from the start. This requires 2 essential technological components working in concert: customer identity and access management, or CIM, and customer consent management.
Let's dedicate some time to defining those layers. What does CIM handle, and why is it so crucial for identity resolution in this complex global setting?
CIM is the engine that ensures the unique identification of the customer across all connected systems where their data resides. It manages logins, secure access, account linking. So if a customer interacts via email, then a mobile app, and then a call center, CIM ensures they are recognized as the same person. This unified identity is vital, but it also creates a single point of truth for regulation adherence.
And consent management is the regulatory firewall that protects that identity.
Precisely. Consent management is the separate, critical layer that manages the legal and preference aspects. On one hand, you have to adhere to the legal data regulations of whatever country you're in. On the other, you must respect the specific preferences and consent given by the customer themselves. Do they want to be contacted via SMS? Can their telematics data be used for marketing? This tight lock between CIM, which provides the identity, and consent management, which provides the permission, ensures that personalized engagement is powerful yet compliant and non-intrusive.
Now let's talk about the traditional backbone of the front office, the CRM, the Customer Relationship Management System. In this new world, are CRM systems redundant?
Not at all. They're synergistic. CRM systems remain the authoritative source of transactional data. They hold customer master data, sales records, service history. You can think of the CRM as the system of record.
Okay.
The CDP, however, acts as the customer data orchestration layer, the system of action. It takes that static CRM data along with all the dynamic behavioral and vehicle data and makes it real-time and actionable for personalization.
So the CRM holds the history, the CDP drives the current action. Does the CDP feed information back to the CRM?
It has to. In fact, CDP insights must be actively sent back to the CRM so that, for example, a customer service agent viewing a service ticket can also see the actionable insights derived by the CDP, like a predicted high churn score or a suggested upsell offer.
It makes every human interaction smarter.
Exactly.
What are the specific CRM data elements that are critical for feeding the CDP and driving those insights?
They range from immediate needs to long-term satisfaction. This includes open service tickets, pre-sales leads, crucial survey feedback, the customer satisfaction score, CSAT, and service resolution KPIs, how quickly were issues solved. It also includes insights on knowledge management, content engagement, seeing which help articles or digital guides the customer access before they called support, which indicates their self-service tendency.
Okay, moving on to loyalty. This is such a critical differentiator for long-term customer lifetime value, or CLV.
It is, and a CDP can supercharge loyalty management beyond just tracking points.
How so?
Loyalty management systems are data sponges. For a CDP to maximize CLV, it needs deep, multifaceted integration with the loyalty program's entire lifecycle. It tracks not just loyalty promotions and managing status and points, but the entire customer relationship history.
Including the soft data and behavioral loyalty.
Yes. The CDP needs integration for identification, registration, and onboarding into the program, loyalty subscriptions, which are key revenue streams, and all transactions connected to loyalty points and redemptions. But we also integrate the behavioral loyalty data, insights on gift cards, advocacy, how often are they recommending us, social media engagement, ratings and reviews, and detailed loyalty gamifications. All this informs targeted rewards and retention strategies that are highly relevant.
This brings us back to segmentation. How does this overwhelming volume of data change the segmentation strategy?
Segmentation is still foundational, but its depth is exponentially greater. It's no longer based on 3 simple variables. Today, it has to be driven by a myriad of attributes: transactional information, behavioral data, demographic insights, psychographic profiling, and highly sophisticated predictive scores like churn risk or propensity to buy. And the strategy has to be tailored to which channel the engagement will happen on.
Managing this must be a headache for the business user, the campaign manager.
It would be, without a tool called the data catalog. This is critical. For the business user, the campaign manager, the analyst, the data science team, the data catalog is a way to access and understand customer experience data in an easily comprehensible way. It enforces data governance while democratizing access.
Which finally brings us to the payoff: personalized engagement, where the rubber hits the road. How does the CDP move personalization beyond a generalized email blast to genuine marketing to one?
This is where the entire architecture is validated. It's the interface with the front-end customer experience. The CDP is responsible for controlling the customer journey flows and embedding them with real-time actions.
And these actions have to be truly omnichannel.
They must be. They have to automatically get triggered across every connected application. E-commerce, social media, CRM, websites, mobile apps, emails, call centers, and sales interactions. This omni-channel triggering is driven by dynamic automation, a combination of established business rules or heuristics and advanced machine learning and AI algorithms. This combination ensures that we can deliver personalized, predictive recommendations to each customer and scale that action to the entire customer base. It makes true marketing to one achievable and profitable.
And just to clarify, how does the CDP integrate with the world of advertising, specifically programmatic ads, which often use anonymous data?
That's where the technical distinction between a CDP and a traditional data management platform, DMP, comes into play. A DMP deals primarily with anonymous data for broad targeting. The CDP, with its focus on known customer identity, feeds its highly accurate first-party customer audiences into the programmatic ecosystem, working with platforms like a demand-side platform, DSP. This lets the OEM suppress ads to existing customers, target highly accurate lookalike audiences, and manage ad data delivery across mail, print, and display, all driven by the CDP's superior intelligence about the known customer.
We focus heavily on the individual consumer, the B2C relationship. But the automotive sector has this massive B2B component fleets, businesses, bulk purchases. What are the unique data nuances we have to consider when designing a CDP strategy for B2B automotive?
The B2B environment changes the scale and complexity entirely. The focus shifts from a personal journey to fleet management, driver administration, and complicated procurement workflows. You're no longer serving a single customer, you're serving an entire organization.
And that requires integrating with specialized portals and admin features.
Exactly. Let's look at the data from the self-service B2B portal. These portals are information hubs for fleet managers. They provide crucial, high-level telematics data tailored for fleet management, not just how fast one car is going, but aggregated data on the entire fleet's efficiency. They offer self-service administration features, letting the customer organization manage their own assets, assigning drivers to specific vehicles, managing mobility services, arranging upgrades for multiple vehicles at once.
And the procurement and payment systems must reflect that scale.
Absolutely. The B2B commerce platform needs features that handle commercial complexity. This includes configuring special pricing and offers based on contract size, advanced quoting, and a highly complex sales user experience, often using guided selling techniques.
In a B2C world, I just click buy. In B2B, there are layers of approval.
Correct. The system has to handle organizational structures through workflows and approvals, channel management, and specialized sales processes. It often manages complex order management and fulfillment processes, supporting bulk purchases and quick order functions. It's far more integrated into the customer's internal IT structure than a B2C checkout ever is.
Now let's turn to that other critical relationship that sits between the OEM and the consumer, the dealer. Since they are often separate business entities, what architectural considerations are required for effective dealer engagement that ensures they still feed the CDP?
The dealer engagement architecture is layered. It's designed to provide the dealer with everything they need to operate efficiently, all while ensuring the CDP is connected to these events. The challenge is balancing the dealer's autonomy with the OEM's need for centralized data.
The primary interface is the dealer portal. What does that portal contain to manage this relationship?
The dealer portal acts as the central hub. It provides access to the latest product catalog, service orders, and master data, current dealer promotions, necessary documents and content, and tools for quote and order management. Crucially, it includes the foundational layer of dealer registration, identity, and consent management, ensuring regulatory compliance is maintained even at the partner level.
And the next key flow is ensuring brand consistency and expertise through training.
That's vital. The experience management flow includes detailed onboarding for new partners. And just as important is dealer training and enablement, providing a centralized courses library and continuous learning modules on new models and service protocols. The data showing which dealers have completed which training modules is a crucial input for the CDP when it calculates dealer quality scores.
And what about the flow of personalized information back to the dealer's own CRM?
That's the real synergy. The dealer needs to be empowered with intelligent data from the CDP. The architecture supports dealer marketing, segmentation, campaigns, and intelligence, which flows directly into the dealer CRM. This system manages leads and deals, supports dealer territory management, and provides a dealer 360 and activity view. The CDP ensures that leads are scored and routed efficiently based on proximity, expertise, and customer preference.
As we transition into implementation, we have to deliver the crucial word of caution from the source material. which is,
Do not try to bring all transactional data from all possible systems into the CDP.
that seems entirely counterintuitive. We've just spent all this time detailing the necessity of ingesting massive data streams. Why is this comprehensive all-at-once data dump a mistake?
Because the goal of the CDP is actionability, not archiving. Attempting to ingest everything, every raw server log, every minute transactional detail, creates insurmountable complexity, unnecessary cost, and paralyzing governance issues. The system becomes bloated, slow, and impossible to maintain. If you're not going to use a piece of data to drive real-time personalization or a predictive insight, it doesn't belong in the CDP. The SMART approach has to follow a structured, use case-driven methodology.
Okay, let's detail that recommended phased approach. What are the first steps an organization should take to avoid that data hoarding trap?
The process starts with disciplined prioritization. 1. Identify clear business objectives and prioritize use cases that the CDP will immediately impact. Don't start with build a 360 view. Start with reduce service appointment lead time by 30%.
Be specific.
Be very specific. 2. Identify which data systems need prioritization based only on those use cases. Don't try to connect 30 systems at once. Focus on the 2 or 3 sources that deliver the most immediate impact. 3, and this is so important, within those prioritized systems, determine what relevant header, aggregate, or KPI-driven data needs to be considered first. Focus on the summary data and the metrics that drive decisions, not every raw transaction log. You pull the summary of a warranty claim, not every line item detail of the claim.
Right.
And 4th, to address the need for a real discussion, use design thinking methods to bring together key business stakeholders and experts from sales, marketing, IT, and service. This is where competing interests are reconciled, and everyone agrees on the definition of a customer and a successful outcome before a single line of code is written.
So it's a focused, iterative rollout that forces collaboration and consensus among departments that may have been siloed for decades.
Exactly. The final continuous step is to implement in a phased, use case-driven approach across different lines of business, ensuring adoption and success before expanding the scope. It's success built upon success.
This disciplined approach brings us to the ultimate business case for this entire integration, the power of synergy, or S. We referenced the sources mathematical model earlier. Let's break down that formula now.
Certainly, the model defines the total customer experience revenue, or CE, as a function of individual revenue streams plus synergy. Specifically, CE is defined as a function of A, B, and C plus S.
Okay, let's define those individual revenue streams, A, B, and C.
These are the 3 core strategic revenue drivers. A is the revenue from increasing customer lifetime value, often through new recurring subscription models. B is the revenue from pursuing net new sales growth. And C is the revenue from accelerating top-line growth through new revenue streams, like digital service marketplaces or on-demand feature upgrades.
So if I invest in A, B, and C, I get some revenue from each. But why is S, the synergy, the greatest value multiplier?
Because the investment in A, B, and C alone leads only to additive growth. Synergy S is the exponential impact created when these 3 strategy drivers stop operating in isolation and start working together, fueled by the unified CDP.
Give us a concrete example of that multiplier effect.
Okay, consider this. A customer subscribing to a new digital feature, that's C, a new revenue stream, generates usage data from the VDP that gets routed through the CDP. The CDP recognizes that this usage data predicts a high propensity for that customer to retain the vehicle longer, which increases their CLV, which is A. So the organization can then target this customer with a highly profitable, personalized service contract renewal offer. The integration makes the digital service, C, feed and amplify the CLV strategy, A.
So the CDP is the enabler of that synergistic effect.
Exactly. It transforms the business strategy for accelerated revenue growth and higher customer lifetime value. It's the difference between doing 3 good things and having those 3 things create a disruptive combined force where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Wow. We started this deep dive with the simple idea of converting data into insights, and we've ended up with a blueprint for a complete architectural and organizational overhaul. The shift from static vehicle sales to dynamic, personalized customer relationships powered by the unified CDP and VDP, it's a massive undertaking. The ultimate value here isn't just in collecting data, it's in the real-time actionability and the precision of the personalization it allows.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture for you, the learner, this level of data integration means the automotive industry is fundamentally changing what it means to own a vehicle. Ownership is becoming a managed service where the vehicle is constantly communicating its status and needs back to the brand. This continuous loop of data redefines brand loyalty itself.
And that leads to a provocative final thought for you to chew on. The deepest insights we analyze come not just from a customer's purchasing history, but from the vehicle's telematics engine status, tire pressure, battery charging level. So if the vehicle itself is generating data that predicts a service need before the customer even notices a warning light, how does this level of machine-driven foresight redefine the very concept of customer service? What new ethical and strategic challenges arise when the machine knows more about its own needs than the human owner does, and the brand acts on that knowledge?